How are we doing, guys? And welcome back to All Leeds TV. It's your quite late, very, very late preview, actually, for Leeds versus Bournemouth. But how are we all doing, guys? First and foremost, how are we all doing? A big welcome to you guys late on a Friday night ahead of Leeds United's massive game against Bournemouth tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, how are you thinking, guys? How are you feeling going into this game? How are you thinking? No, how are you feeling going into this game? How are you feeling going into this game? I'm feeling incredibly nervous, to be honest. I think I'm feeling more nervous the fact that we've just beaten Liverpool. Um, you just know what the story is. We beat Liverpool, then we go into this one. It's a much more difficult game. But let's get some comments in there, guys. Please smash that like button if you haven't done already. And yeah, let's get some comments in early doors. Your thoughts going into this game? Yeah, so yeah, as I said, I'm incredibly nervous. As Rob Brookie says here, this is my exact feeling. Feeling like a win, but I know Leeds, lol. It's exactly that. It is exactly that. But I have got a fantastic prize on offer for you guys just to go through before we get into this video. It is an unbelievable prize, by the way. Let's go through it right now. It is, hopefully you'll be able to see this, guys. It is an Elan Melier match-worn signed Leeds United goalkeeper's glove. What a prize this is on offer. Signed Elan Melier match-worn goalkeeper glove. The absolute hero from Anfield. Even if Phil Miles did only give him a 7.5 out of 10, which is still absolutely scandalous. He was an absolute warrior in that game. He's been an absolutely fantastic goalkeeper for this football club, and he's still only 22 years old. This is a fantastic prize, guys. $4.95 a ticket, 149 tickets available. The competition ends on Tuesday, the 8th of November. Make sure you check out the description down below at the end of this video for the full detail on that one. Or if you're not watching live, you can probably check out the description right now. To enter the competition, check out football prizes. Plenty of other competitions on offer as well. I'll just go through those as well. Even if you're not a Leeds fan or you're just a general football fan watching this, look at this as well. You've even got boxing memorabilia here as well, in terms of prices on offer. Loads of different stuff here. Check it out, guys. Check it out. We'll leave you the link in the description down below. Check them out, guys. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? Let's get some comments in. Come on, let's get some comments in on this one. Luke Williamson, Bournemouth really isn't that good. Stats say they'll come back down to earth. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like attacking stats, they are like not great, but I'm still a little bit reluctant to get too carried away. I think defensively, certainly under Gary O'Neill, since they lost 9-0 to Liverpool, they have been very strong defensively. They don't concede many goals, Bournemouth, so it's going to be very, very difficult to break them down. I think it's going to be another game where we're going to have a lot of the ball, but it's going to take a lot to break down Bournemouth. And we've seen all season, really, we've struggled to break down teams that sit in against us and allow us to go on the attack. Against Liverpool, there's a bit more of a basketball match. It's end to end. It suits us more, and I do think those kind of games suit us more. This is a different kind of test. Sitting on like cloud nine after that Liverpool game, it's still a really different test. This Bournemouth match, and we've got to improve in certain areas. I think obviously the Fulham game was the last home game we played. It just was nowhere near good enough, and we've got to be absolutely bang on it tomorrow. Oscar, are you in the steam room? Oh, honestly, I'm absolutely freezing here, guys. I'm basically outside, to be honest. I'm basically outside. Honestly, you can see the windows here. It's just so cold in here. I cannot tell you how cold I was. I wish, Nige, I wish I was in a steam room right now, because honestly, I'm so cold. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. But these are the things we do for all these TV content. So please smash that like button for me being cold. Yeah, so this is another good point off Luke. Teams we played against that kind of come to Ellen Road for the point. I expect Bournemouth to do something like that. Maybe I'm downplaying Bournemouth's quality a little bit. But are we expecting Everton blueprint of time wasting? I don't think anyone can time waste the way Everton did in that game. I think even Wolves struggled to time waste quite as much as what Jordan Pickford did. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I mean, I've had enough of games where I've just come out of Ellen Road frustrated, and it's. Yeah, and this is a very true point, of Chris. It's exactly my feelings. I think we do better when we have less possession. You see the likes of Tyler Adams, Mark Rocker, Brendan Aaronson's tenacity off the ball, that ability to counter-attack at pace and catch teams in behind at pace. It's harder to do that when the team's just sitting in against you and there's no space in behind and there's no space in general. And I don't think there's any coincidence that Brendan Aronson's best games have not necessarily been against teams like Bournemouth, Fulham, Everton, and that lot. They've been against the Liverpool and Arsenal's and Chelsea's and that lot. So it's definitely something, not just as a collective, we need to work on. I think individuals need to step up a bit more in these games. Not to say that they've not been good so far, the likes of Brendan Aronson, but we need to see a little bit more from them in these types of games for me. They need to be the players that make the big difference in these type of games, because at the end of the day, they're always going to be quite tight. It's always going to be a goal either way. And we just need difference makers for us rather than like for Fulham last week, in terms of Willian for Fulham last week. We need our players to now be the difference makers. Just over 60 of you in the chat, which is absolutely fantastic. We're only 5 minutes into the video, so please do keep hitting that like button, guys, if you haven't done already, and smash that subscribe button as well. It really does help us. I mean, this is a very theoretical question, David, but yes, absolutely, no doubt about it for me. Not even a question for me personally. Let us know, guys. But for me, watching Rafinha against for Barcelona in midweek, I know it was only against I think Victoria Plaza, I think it is. I think Plzen. He was absolutely superb, and I know it's not against great opposition, but absolutely 100%, I would take Rafinha back. I would have Rafinha back, absolutely no problem at all. Is it realistic? Probably not. Some predictions coming in. 3-0. A lot of optimism, to be fair. A lot of optimism. Apologies for the camera, guys. I do apologise. This is been quite an impromptu video. It has been a bit impromptu, but I did want to get something out before this game, so I hope you guys do appreciate it a little bit. The camera has been better, I think, on other videos, but I don't know. It's I do apologise, guys, but it's the quality of the voice, not the picture, that matters. So surely, that's what I tell myself anyway. 3-1 Leeds, says Derek. 2-1 says Paul. So yeah, a lot of optimism. Yeah, get some more predictions in. Seeing predictions for Bamford to score. How good would that be if Paddy Bamford can get himself that goal? I do just think if he can get himself that one goal, we know he's a confidence player. It just gives him that extra boost. But I can't even really realistically see Paddy starting tomorrow, to be honest. I think it'll be Rodrigo up top in that number 9 spot. And I think he deserves it, to be honest. I know, obviously, Rodrigo, there's other criticisms of his play, the lack of pressing, the lack of hold-up play. But the fact of the matter is, he's basically scored 1 and 2 for a team that's 15th in the table. And listen, I know there's more to it than just goals, but in terms of where we are as a team at this moment in time, I think you have to go with Rodrigo up top because he is giving us goals in that position. Whatever other elements of his play that you can criticise, I think there's a lot of areas you can criticise. He is giving us goals at this moment in time, and he's taking his chances when they come to him. And listen, that Liverpool one, it's a tap in at the end of the day, but he was on his toes, ready for that situation. So, listen, there's still lots for me that Rodrigo needs to improve, but I think it will be Rodrigo who starts up top tomorrow. John Kevin Augustin, obviously that's judgment's been made. Didn't know whether to do a separate video on this or not. I don't know if it's a big enough thing to really go into. I know, obviously, it's felt, for me, it's felt like it's just been rumbling on for a while, this. Listen, it's just that the signing didn't work out. On paper, it looks like a reasonable pick because obviously what Augustin had done prior to that, but ultimately it just didn't work out for whatever reason. I'm not going to dispute what reason that was, but it's one of them, isn't it? I think obviously I can't really have an opinion on it because I didn't really see the contract, but for me, I'm not surprised with the overall review. I think it's a bit harsh on Leeds. The fact that, listen, John Kevin Augustin was clearly not fit. Not just not Bielsa fit, he was clearly not fit. You can see it visibly with John Kevin Augustin. And listen, I have nothing against John Kevin Augustin. I think it's probably been a very difficult situation for him. But there was absolutely no doubt that fitness-wise, he was nowhere near at it. I think I remember seeing his debut against Brentford away. He came on and you could literally see that John Kevin Augustin wasn't, the way John Kevin Augustin was moving compared to the rest of the team. And it's nothing against him. And no doubt he worked hard to get himself back into match fitness and that lot. And there's probably different factors, injuries and different bits and pieces, but it just never worked out. It's just been one of those signings that never worked out, and it probably won't go down as one of the worst in terms of, if you look at obviously the cost that it has cost us at the end of the day. Yes, I understand this off Liam. I do understand. Apologies if my internet's not great here, guys. I do apologise. Please let me know if it is jumping in and out, but I think it's okay. I've said that for like 4 years about my internet. I do apologise, guys. Liam B, Rodrigo doesn't defend. Can we afford that luxury? Listen, I hear that. I totally hear that. I don't know if it's not for the want of trying, but he doesn't really do a lot off the ball compared to the other players, in terms of Aronson, Bamford himself, etc., etc. But I think we can afford that luxury because he's scoring goals. At the end of the day, that is what this team needs at this moment in time. Sinister is out tomorrow, and that's a separate point. Brendan Aaronson's only scored one, despite being really good so far. Obviously, Crescentio's got himself a couple of goals, but ultimately, we do need goals in this team, and Rodrigo's given us more than anyone. So I would argue that, yes, it is worth the luxury at this moment in time, unless a better option comes available for us. But at this moment in time, I think Rodrigo is the best suited to starting games as a number 9 in this team. I think he's better as a number 9 than what he's a number 10. I think he's far better as a number 9 than a 10. But some people might disagree with me on that. But I really do think Rodrigo has found that sharpness in front of the goal. Other elements of his play, I'm not saying he's not frustrating, but he's certainly found that sharpness. Bournemouth got 2 good forwards. This is not an easy game. Absolutely not. I really don't think it's easy at all. I think I would love to have the same level of optimism of people saying 3-0 and 3-1. I would absolutely love that. But I do think it's going to be quite a tense one. I could even see it being a 1-0 either way, to be honest. I'd still back us, but I can see it being a really, really tight game. Obviously, you've got Kiefer Moore, who I think has stepped up into this league pretty well, to be fair to him. Dominic Solanke as well. Who's, I think he's got 25 goals in the Championship, 25 goals the season before that. And he's actually stepped up into the Premier League quite well. I think defensively, defensively is where it worries me most with Bournemouth. They are super organised. But yeah, get some questions in, guys. Get some questions in. I do enjoy asking, and I do genuinely really enjoy answering your questions. It is really interesting to me, what other people are thinking, in terms of on Leeds at this moment in time. I'm not at all massively confident going into this tomorrow, to be honest. I'm nervous, to be honest. I'm really nervous because I know how big this game is in the context of the World Cup just being around the corner and having that chance to put a little bit of a gap between us and the bottom 3 potentially, or it could go the other way. Let's have a look. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is a very interesting point, actually, of German Munoz. Hopefully I pronounced the last name right there. Hopefully I did. What's priority or must game? Bournemouth Saturday or EFL Cup tie on Wednesday at Wolves? I really want us to take the Cups seriously. I really do. And I think we will take the Cups quite seriously this season. Obviously, it's easier said than done when we're in the situation we're in at this moment in time. Not in the best of league positions. But if we do beat Bournemouth, then, yeah, I'm not saying we should go with a full team against Wolves. I don't think we necessarily need to go with a full team against Wolves because I don't think Wolves will go with a full team either. But yeah, there's certain players who would say, yeah, why not start them against Wolves? Likes of Somerville and that lot, Rodrigo again, just to keep building that confidence and momentum that he's got at this moment in time. Jack Harrison to rebuild that momentum. I don't see any reason why the likes of those can't play, and maybe even a Brendan Aronson you can throw in there as well. And then you've obviously got people like Willie Gnonto, potentially Sonny Perkins might be an option for that game. I really want us to go big on that game, and it's not necessarily a case of putting all the first teamers out, but I want us to put out a team that's fully balanced and has the quality to really, really test Wolves because it's a winnable game. It really is a winnable game. If you win that game, you're only a couple of games away from Wembley. You get a nice draw, you get some results, you get a bit of momentum, and it helps your league season as well. So I really want us to take the Cups seriously this season. No question about it. So bored of seeing us not be great in the Cups. Any talk of presumably Martin Terrier, I think Bert is talking about here. Yeah, again, I've not heard anything. I think he's had a really strong start to the season again. I think last time I looked, in fact, I might have a quick look now, actually, Bert. I'm pretty sure he was on 8 in 13 for this season. So a pretty decent strike rate. I have to say, I really like the look of Terrier when we were getting linked with him. Yeah, it was a very interesting player. Playing Europa League football as well with Rennes. Yeah, in fact, it's not a bad guess, that was it. 8 in 13. He has got 8 goals in 13 games with 3 assists. So he's prolific. Obviously, it's a big step up from Ligue 1, but it'd be interesting if that comes along again. I do like the look of Terrier, I have to admit. Wow, loads of questions here, guys. I really love that. We might even think about doing the All East TV Q&A again. Let us know if you want that again. Myself, Jack, Chris, and Tash. We'd like doing that, and let us know if you want that again. Apologies, not been many videos from myself this week. I've been super busy, guys, but I am back this weekend with plenty of post-match content and pre-match content right now. Let's have a look at this one. Question from my man Mike of the All These TV group. That sounded very official, that, didn't it? Mike, of course, make sure you check out us on TikTok. He does run our TikTok. He does a superb job on our TikTok. He's absolutely smashing it at this moment in time. Do you think we should focus on the right due to Rasmus's crossing ability? Yeah, I think certainly the last couple of games, Mike. I think we said it in the group chat a few times. Rasmus's crossing is very underrated in this team. He's definitely got a cross on him. I think we've seen it against Liverpool, Leicester. Yes, I know how bad that Leicester game was. He can deliver a ball, and listen, he puts an absolute peach in for Brendan Aronson, and it's unlucky that it's not led to a goal, but Rasmus has got a lot going forward, and defensively, I think he's been solid. And for me, he's the strongest fullback, right back certainly that we've got at this moment in time by quite a distance. I see no reason why Rasmus should not absolutely walk into this team week in, week out at this moment in time. I think he's one of our most informed players. So yeah, I think I would like to see more happen down that right hand side, and we have worked on that. Clearly in that Liverpool game, Brendan Harrison, Harrison himself, Jack Harrison, and Christensen had a really interesting dynamic on that side. So let's see if we can rebuild it again for Bournemouth. And of course, Somerville when he went onto that side as well. Let's have a look. Hopefully, certainly Gnonto. I think Gnonto certainly deserves a chance off the bench. I'm not sure we could really change the starting 11 too much with how we played against Liverpool. There's a case maybe Jack Harrison comes out for Gnonto, but for me, I'd just keep it as it is for now. We've got a little bit of momentum, and Gnonto made a big impact off the bench against Liverpool. Can he do the same now against Bournemouth? If he does the same against Bournemouth, then yeah, by all means, he should start Wolves for me. And then he really puts himself into that first team picture then for me. Gnonto, I think, looks a phenomenal talent, to be honest. The way he keeps the ball, the way he came on at 1-1, showed real maturity. On his weaker side as well, he came on to the left rather than the right when he came on the pitch. I thought he gave a really good account of himself. So yeah, Gnonto for me should definitely get an opportunity. I'm not sure about start, but definitely get an opportunity. Joffrey as well. Again, I can't see either playing starting, but it'd be nice to see him come off the bench if we need him in the game. I think they can make a big impact. Certainly Gnonto for me at this moment in time. And Joffrey, we all know what he's capable of. Just have a quick drink, guys. So just right. So let's have a look at this one again. It's an interesting one. Do you think Bamford's injury is something more serious because he doesn't look the same guy? I just think the fact he's been out for so long, I think it's the big thing for me, John. I don't know if anyone else would agree with that. I think the fact he's basically been out for 18 months. He was in the form of his life, the shape of his life. He was in the peak of his career, really, age-wise, and where he was at his career at that point, just coming off the back end of that 2020, 2021 season. And unfortunately, the injury just happened at the worst possible time. I still think Paddy Bamford offers you a lot. Is he offering us goals, clinical finishing at this moment in time? Probably not, if we're being totally honest, but he offers you a lot of different things as well. I think with his back to goal, he's still one of our best players for me. He holds the ball up really well. Yes, some of his touches against Liverpool weren't great. Let's be totally honest about it. They weren't great at all. I think, obviously, I've said before, he's very much a confidence player. I think even when he was in his peak of his powers, he was a confidence player to an extent, really. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's so much it was more serious. I just think the fact he's had so many different little injuries, he's not been able to build that match fitness momentum, and it's really affected him, I think, in that kind of sense. Maybe in terms of the athleticism, being able to get up and down the pitch really, really easily, like he was being able to in the past. But I do think it can't be underestimated how long he's been out for. And it's a bit of a shame that obviously we've been so reliant on Paddy in the last couple of seasons. But I think it's very much Rodrigo's position to lose now for me, unless obviously Perkins gets an opportunity. Gnonto maybe plays a couple of games through the middle. I do feel like Paddy is going to be more of an impact player for us as the season goes on, and I still think he can make an impact. But yeah, I think obviously the lack of goals is a bit of a concern. The way it's not much conviction with his finishing either, in terms of confidence, really striking through the ball cleanly. It's a bit of a concern to me, but he does offer you a lot of different bits and pieces. But ultimately, we do need goals. I think Rodrigo is a safer bet at this moment in time. But I really do like Paddy. If you had Rodrigo's best attributes combined with Paddy's best attributes, you'd have a really, really good top end Premier League striker, to be honest. Yeah, again, I've kind of covered this before, but for me, Gnonto, I think should definitely start against Wolves. I think he should get another big 20, 25-minute cameo tomorrow as well. But I can definitely see the case for it. I was super impressed with his performance against Liverpool, and let's see how it goes. But for me, I'd still go with the same team that finished the game against Liverpool. Sorry, started the game against Sea. So this is an interesting one, John. It's good to see the Oscars, the Christmas decorations up. It's not. It's not my area. This. It's just, as I say, I'm basically outside at this point. Oh, it's so cold, guys. It's so cold. Paul Gray. Feels like it could be a banana skin tomorrow. I remember we beat West Ham away. Yes, Paul. I will finish this in a moment, but this is my exact thought. Exact thought. When I woke up on the Sunday morning after Liverpool, I was thinking, that was an awful lot like West Ham, where we just won the game out of nothing, where there was no real expectation or excitement or real hope going into the game. And then we beat West Ham and then got beat by Newcastle. It's a similar scenario where Bournemouth are in the table. So, yeah, sorry, I'll just finish this off. But and the reason I said that was it just really, really resonated with me, that one. Feels like it could be a banana skin tomorrow. I remember we beat West Ham away last year when we were top four. Sorry, when they were top four, rather. And then we lost to Newcastle in the bottom three at the time. Hope I'm wrong. Yeah, but it's certainly a psychological thing that we just need to get over that barrier of beating teams around us and, performing and showing we're better than these teams. You're not just matching these teams, beating these teams now, I think is the key for us. I think we've been a little bit unlucky in some of the games. Palace, I thought we were a little bit unlucky. Villa, we obviously go down to 10 men. But Leicester and Fulham, you can't really have any complaints. We've just got to be better in these games. And it's something definitely for Jesse and the team itself to work on, I think. And I think as the season goes on, I'm hoping we get stronger and stronger in these type of games, because these are the games that really decide where you finish in the table for me. It's not going to be the Liverpools that kind of propel us up the table. It's going to be games like this and being able to consistently deliver in these types of games that's going to really move us up the table, if we're going to move up the table. And it could work the other way as well. It could be the games that really drag us back into it. Because we're nowhere near out of it yet, guys. We're nowhere near yet out of it yet. Big thanks to this off, John. Great show, Oscar. Never fails to deliver, to be fair. Oh, done me in there. But big thanks, John. Big thanks. And please do smash that like button if you haven't done already, and hit that subscribe button as well. We've just got over 80 of you watching, which is absolutely fantastic considering it's 10:30 on a Friday night. Unbelievable support as ever, guys. So let's get some more comments in. Danny Rumsey says Wolves game think could be Robler's goalkeeper, right back Ayling, Llorente and Cooper centre backs. This is a good shout. This Firpo left back, Click and Giarbi holding midfield, Gnonto on the left, Somerville on right, Joffrey at the 10, and Perkins up top. And you know what? That is for me, Danny. That's going to be pretty close to what it actually is. If I'm being totally honest, it's going to be pretty close. Can I just clarify as well? This isn't a Christmas tree. This behind me, that is not a Christmas tree. I'm just going to clarify. I don't mind Christmas, but I'm a bit more on the CK. In terms of Christmas, you've got Scotty and Tash who just absolutely love it, and then you've got CK and Jack who absolutely hate it. I'm probably more. I don't mind it. To be honest, but I'm not as keen on it as what I used to be. I'm more on the CK and Jack way of thinking, but maybe not that extreme against Christmas. So I can assure you that's not a Christmas tree, and that is not a Christmas decoration. It just is what it is. It's not my area. This I will keep saying it. I'm really paranoid that you think this is like my decorations and that lot. I'm not a Moe fan. I'm not a whatever that is fan. This isn't my area. So yeah, don't think this is my area. Oh, I'm getting so paranoid now. And I'm getting even more paranoid when John's making comments like this. Who's that outside? It could be someone, I don't know. Great evidence, this video, anyway, if it is someone. Anyway, so let's get some. I've gone off on a real tangent there. So let's get some more questions in. Have I been evicted and locked out? one of those things might have happened, Nigel. One of those things might well have happened. I'm not going to say which, but yes. Yeah, please do smash that like button if you haven't done already. Please do that for us. Let's see, any more questions for us? Let's see. Please keep the questions coming in. It's a plug seat on the wall. It's not, to be fair. That is actually a life ring. Don't ask. Don't ask. It's really not. It's really not that interesting. Why would? Oh, we're not talking about Christmas. Scott will be absolutely in his element here, but we're not talking about Christmas. Do not ask me questions about Christmas, guys. All right, I'll approach this question because I've got no other questions. I'm now going to have to answer a question specifically about Christmas when I don't want to answer a question about Christmas. Ask me different questions. It's not my day. Honestly, this is not my day. I'm getting wound up now. It's not my day. Honestly, it sounds very unconvincing, this, but genuinely, this is not my area. You'll just see here. Just see around there. That's where I normally kind of like film from time to time. So you see this bit isn't really me. As you can, this just isn't me. This doesn't like scream me, does it? Really, like a deer on the wall and Moe kind of like cushions and that lot. I don't even like champagne. I'm really on the defensive, aren't I, guys? I really am on the defensive. So, Freddie, just get some other questions in, guys. Get some other questions that do not relate to Christmas, because I am not going to answer any other questions relating to Christmas. What's Jesse's letter to Santa asking for this Christmas? I think definitely, obviously, we're talking about the transfer window here, aren't we? I think ultimately you got to be looking at the defence, really. Do we need another left-sided centre-back? Do we need maybe a bit more of a leader at the back, to help Coops out, in terms of if Coops is out on the team? Do we need another left-back? I think we definitely need to add someone in that back line. Again, the temptation is to say at left back, that I'm quite reluctant to say that, but I think ultimately you've got to look at our depth at left back and say, yes, left back and centre back would be nice. Probably, I don't know what's the priority. I think it's still a little bit early to say what the priority is out of the two. Obviously, the striker situation is another. Depth to Tyler Adams is another one. So if you're looking at maybe 3 signings realistically, that would be the 3 for me right now. Yeah, let us know, guys, if you agree with that. Obviously, another right winger might be another point as well. A more natural fit on that right hand side. More questions about Christmas. I will answer questions about Christmas when it's December, when we can start talking about Christmas. It's too early. We've got a World Cup before Christmas. Right, so I should just never have mentioned anything about Christmas, because you're mugging me off now, guys, in the comments. Oh, it's all fun. It's all fun. Why aren't you in your corner? Because you guys moan at me because my lighting's not very good, and it's not great here either, so I don't really know why I haven't gone in the corner today. I don't know, mix it up a little bit. But yeah, it's a fair point, that, Liam. It's a very, very fair point. So let's get some more comments in. I really hope we do, Alison. I really do hope. And big hello once again to Alison and Marty Adams, long-term fans of the channel. I really do hope we do sign someone. Jake, I'm hoping JKA isn't using it as an excuse, because obviously, I think it was 2020, January 2020. So we're looking at almost 3 years since that now. I think we've just got to move on and just accept that was a big mistake. For whatever reason, it was a big mistake, and we can't let that put us off from making a striker signing, or a set left back, or a centre back, or a holding midfielder as back up to Adams and Rocker. So let's see. I've heard about this player mentioned a couple of times. I think actually, Luke, you did actually mention me in a tweet on Raphael Bohr. I can't say I've ever watched Raphael Bohr, I'll be totally honest, but yeah, I've heard his name mentioned a couple of times, in terms of not like as direct transfer rumours, but as a potential good player in this team. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. If you guys or Luke knows anything a bit more about Raphael Bohr, what type of striker he is he a short striker, big striker, runner in behind, so when he takes the ball to feet, let us know. Be interesting. So let's see. Right, so my studio's getting hammered here, which is fair enough. I can't complain. I can't complain. Oscar, we need an impact player in midfield as Click is on borrowed time. Again, I think Click's an interesting one. I do think Click is more of a. I think he's better going forward now than what he is defensively. I think he's made some good impacts this season when he's come on. Maybe not so much the last couple of games, Leicester and Fulham, but I do still think Click is a decent squad player to have. Is he a starter right now? No, not ahead of Brendan Aronson. I don't think there's any question about that at all at this moment in time. But I think we need other depth in midfield, different types of midfielder. We need a Tyler Adams backup as well, because when Tyler Adams is out of the team, you saw how big a difference that made against Fulham. So we definitely need to look at that. I wouldn't be looking to get rid of anyone at this moment in time. I don't think we need to do that. I think we need to add players, if anything. I think I'm happy to say that the midfielders we've got can all contribute in a different kind of way, but we probably need more bodies there as well, a bit more depth. Not just in defensive areas, but maybe more attacking areas as well, potentially. It's something to think about, definitely. Let's have a look. Are you supporting USA at the World Cup? Interesting one. Interesting one. Yeah, I can't lie to you guys. I've never felt less excited about a World Cup ever, to be honest. I'm not going to put my political views on the World Cup in Qatar, etc., etc. But it's not good, is it? It's just the whole thing is just a complete and utter sham. It should not be happening. It is, yeah, and that's a big thing for me. It's like I just can't get that excited about it. I can't listen. Neymar, Messi. I think it's going to be between Brazil and Argentina. Personally, I think they're the two strongest teams by a distance. I think the European teams will really struggle in the heat compared to the South American teams. I do think it'll be a case of Messi's Argentina versus Neymar's Brazil. I do think it will turn into that, and I'm quite excited to see Messi at one last World Cup. I just wish it was in different circumstances. Am I supporting the USA? Of course, USA are in the same group as England. I have no real hopes for England at this tournament. Listen, I kind of said it in the video, didn't I? I'd support USA over England, so I can't really back down now. Mike knows exactly what he's doing here, because I did say this in the video at one point when I got a little bit overexcited. Me, I never get overexcited, do I? But I did get overexcited on the video. If England win, I'll be happy because England have won. But if USA win, it'd be quite funny. It would be quite funny if USA beat England and Brendan Aronson scores, or Tyler Adams, pockets Phil Foden or something, or Jack Grealish or Mason Mount. That would be quite funny, and it'd be quite a decent bragging point. So it's a win-win. I'm going to say it there, right as it is. It's a win-win situation. Yeah. So I'm not going to get too concerned about that. So let's see. Yeah, Blaze Ray. I kind of mentioned this before, but I can't really name specific players right now because obviously it's such a long time until the window opens. Obviously, you got a World Cup in between as well. But my areas I'd look at is a defender, someone who can play centre back or full back, a depth option, maybe a bit of a Berardi type player. All okay. Again, an upgrade on Berardi, by the way, but that type of player who can play right back, left back, centre back, can play kind of all the spots. I think would be quite good for us. So a bit of a utility defender to an extent with a bit of experience would be nice. So there's a couple of people who might come into that category. But yeah, so that'd be one spot I'd look at. I think I'd definitely look at the situation with Tyler Adams in terms of having a backup to Tyler Adams. Again, easy said than done, but there will be options out there who can do a similar job. Not to the same standard, of course, but just similar type of midfielder, high energy, quality on the ball. We're not going to get a midfielder as good as Tyler Adams realistically because he's just absolutely out of this world at this moment in time. And I think he's a top player. But we do need depth to him, in terms of we can't have a situation where we are lightweight in midfield because we need that midfield to be backing up the press for 90 minutes every single week. So that's a key thing to me. And of course, the striker situation. It'd be nice if they can play out wide as well. The striker we signed, Terrier, might be a decent shout because he can play on the left. I think he's played more on the left than he has actually up top this season. But he can play anywhere across the front three, so that's an option as well. Because I think maybe we are a little bit short of depth on the right-hand side as well, low key. Obviously Brendan Aaronson's played a couple of games there. Sinisterra, I don't think is as good on that side. Somerville, I don't think is as good on that side. Jack Harrison, I don't think is as good on that side either. So, yeah, I always go those kind of three positions and just more depth in more areas. I think is a key thing for me. Yeah, I have actually picked up on this. Jesse does seem to have calmed down after his red cards. Maybe not so much for the celebration against Liverpool, but yeah, I do agree with that. He's definitely calmed down. Yeah, definitely agree. We need to get Tyler a new contract as quickly as possible. Tyler Adams, it'd be lovely to do that. Alison Adams, all the US I am, no Ireland, and can't be doing with international football, to be honest. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. It's a shame. It's going to spoil a great season for me. I don't mind an international football tournament at the end of the season. I think at the start of the season would have been fine as well. We could have worked around that. But in the middle of the season, just the whole everything behind it is just not great. It's just not great, is it? You know, yeah, it's just one of those things, really. But I don't think it's great. I don't think it should be happening. I am surprised that a couple of players maybe didn't boycott it. I did think that might have been a possibility at one point, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, the World Cup is it only comes around once every 4 years. So that's just my view on it. I'm not going to go too much into that, but I just can't get excited. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I can't get excited about this World Cup. I just think it's so wrong. So many different elements to this World Cup, and I've no issue. I think the World Cup should be played everywhere. I think it should be, in terms of it should be available to everyone to host at some point. I think it's great to have it on all different continents, but it just doesn't feel right to me how this one's been put together, really, for several different reasons. But I think it's great that obviously went to South Africa a couple of years ago. Obviously, it's going back to America in 2026. A couple of times in Europe, South America, Brazil, 2014, I think it was. I think it should be played, everywhere. I think it'd be boring if it's played in the same place or the same types of places all the time. So yeah, I do think it should be in different continents each time. But yeah, this just doesn't. When you're seeing so many people die, building the stadiums, I just can't get excited about it. But that's just my view on it. Sorry to bring this down, but yeah, that's just my view on it. I'm more frustrated about this World Cup because of the fact that we might be going into it in good form and then a big gap in the season. It's not great. It's not great. This is a good point off Luke. I just love that it's USA versus England on Black Friday of all days. Yeah, this is very, very true. There's a bit of an irony to that as well. I'll stop talking about the World Cup now. I do apologise, guys. I've spoken a lot about the World Cup. But yeah, no, to be fair, Liam, that is my view on it. I don't know if it's controversial or not, but I just don't think it's just not one I can get excited about. I think the peak for me was Brazil 2014. I think that'll be the best World Cup I'll ever see. I just think so many different things happened at that tournament. You got Brazil getting beat 7-1 in the semi-final by Germany. You've got Messi obviously carrying Argentina to a final. You've got different surprises happening everywhere. It was just a really good tournament. And I think Holland had a really good tournament. Spain had a shocker. There's just so many different stories going on in that World Cup. And the fact it was in Brazil, every stadium was iconic. It was just a really iconic place to have a football tournament. And I don't think in my lifetime I'll see a better World Cup than that, personally. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. But I just felt that was a perfect setting in terms of that Brazil World Cup. I can honestly remember so many games from that tournament, and I think that was the peak of international football for me in terms of quality. I just don't think you see the same quality of games now. But let us know what you think, guys. So, yeah, I'm going to get off the World Cup now. I do apologise. Yeah, this is a blow, isn't it? Sinisterra is out of action. Yeah, it's a big, big blow, that one. But I'm glad to see Somerville was really stepped up. And I think Somerville, let's give Somerville credit. I think he's really settling into this team now. Defensively, his work rate was superb against Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think it's really, really good to see. Crescencio will hopefully get another chance tomorrow. Let's see what he can do from that left-hand side. Yeah, this is something my dad said to me many times. To be fair, 1990 did look incredible, but I was unfortunately too young for that one. 1970 as well, another iconic one. Pele, Brazil 4-1 against Italy. 1966 for obvious reasons. yeah, I just think international football, I think, was the pinnacle at that point. I think now you've got your club football, you've got your Champions League, your Premier League, your Super League, nonsense and all that lot. It's just overtaken international football. I think, personally, that's my view, and that's my theory why it's not the same level of quality these days. This is something I agree with, Nige. I think we are only 3 or 4 players. And I'd probably go more than a reasonable Premier League team. I think for being a pretty good Premier League team is what I'd say. I think we are 3 or 4 players is still quite a lot, but we're not a million miles away from that. Yeah, this is very true of Jim Munoz, Cindy and Gnonto together. Can't wait. It's a very, very exciting prospect. Yes, unfortunately, it's really bad for us. Definitely Gale, but I do feel better about it now, having seen Somerville's performances in recent weeks. Big thanks, Liam. Great stream. Come on, Leeds. Leeds forever. Marching on together. 100%. Argentina 78. Nothing will come close. The Dutch in 74 and 78. Obviously, Johan Cruyff 1974. That was a pretty iconic tournament. Holland super unlucky not to win that. Mick, yeah, club before country every time. I think, 15, 20 years ago, I've always been a bit more of a club before country when it comes to football. But maybe 15 or 20 years ago, it might have been seen a little bit differently. But I think now it has to be club over country because there's so many games and you just feel like, don't get me wrong, when England, the last World Cup and the Euros 2021, it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable, adventure, that one. But I just don't feel that coming from England this time. I just think this England team's hit its peak, really. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. Yeah, listen, as much as I hate to admit it, 1986 was, again, one where you watch and think, wow, how good was Maradona at that tournament, and how legendary a tournament it was. Is it time to give some of our younger players a chance, Oscar? I think we are doing, to be honest. I think Perkins and Giabi I want to see more of, definitely, or want to see. It's probably a better way of putting it. Obviously, we're seeing Gnonto play against Liverpool. We want to see more of Gnonto. Want to see more of Joffrey. But yeah, I don't see why not. I think obviously Greenwood as well didn't have a good game against Fulham. Let's see what he can do in a different scenario, as alongside the Tyler Adams instead of a Mark Rocker. Where he's been able to focus on the ball a bit more and not have to worry about what he's doing without the ball defensively in that lot. Let's have a look. So Gale says, still not sure Somerville is quite ready, although a lovely goal against Liverpool. We all did, to be fair. I think he's getting closer and closer. Obviously, it's still only a couple of games and getting close to him. Yes, this is very true of Paul Gray. This was a pretty... This will be second on the list, to be fair. Just because of how good that Brazil team was. Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. What a front three that was, by the way. Japan and South Korea, 2002. That was a pretty iconic tournament. A lot of different things happening. That was a pretty crazy tournament. I've been pretty young at that point. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty young, but that was my first ever World Cup. So they always stay with you, don't you? But yeah, that was a pretty iconic one. Germany 2006 was pretty good as well. Obviously, Zidane's headbutt, different bits and pieces. They all have different iconic moments, but for me, 2014 Brazil was a really, really good tournament. And Japan 2002 was good as well. Just not when David Seaman got lobs from 40 yards by Ronaldinho. But yeah, thank you very much, Freddie. Thank you very much. I'm not going to give my age away, but that was my first ever World Cup, that one. And I will never forget David Seaman getting lobbed from 30 yards by Ronaldinho. But yeah, it was Ronaldinho, wasn't it? Brazil were always going to win that tournament, so it is what it is. Yeah, let's talk a bit more about Leeds, not less about international football. We talk about giving Perkins a chance, but what do you make of Matteo Joseph? Yeah, I think Joseph, again, is someone who's going to be coming pretty close to the first team, certainly at some point this season. Maybe when it comes to FA Cup time, I think that might be a good time for Matteo Joseph. I think Perkins is more ready, though, out of the two. I think I've tried to watch the 23s more this season. I do think Perkins is more ready. I think he looks like a little bit more sharper in front of the goal, but Joseph I do really like as well. I think we've got some really promising talent coming into this team. But yeah, I think obviously, the elephant in the room would be: do we need to loan out any of these players? Because obviously, it's great having all this talent, but when you've got a situation with the striker situation where we play one up front and you've got two promising strikers and Joffrey as well, maybe it comes into a situation where maybe you need to loan one of them out. If it is maybe Joseph to loan out, or Sonny Perkins to loan out, or maybe even Joffrey to loan out, it might turn into that situation. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just something that, in order to get game time, it might be something we need to consider. It might be something to think about. But yeah, I do think Matthew Joseph looks good, but I think Perkins, for me, is probably closest to the first team. Let us know if you agree with that. Let us know if you agree with that. I'm buzzing with that. I'm buzzing with that, really, to be fair. I'm buzzing that you think that. John, Oscar's already young. I love that. I love these comments. This is making me happy. This is making me happy, to be fair, which is all good. And who won't be happy? It's Friday. Leeds are playing tomorrow. And it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Let's see. Any more comments coming in? 8563 Robbie, again, quite a long-term viewer of the channel, I believe. I'm pretty sure on that. I've always maintained goal scoring as a natural talent. You can't coach a player to be a goal scorer. I totally agree with this, actually. I do agree with this. I think there's certain little bits you can improve on, but I think likes of when you've got an Erling Haaland or a Robert Lewandowski, the goal scorers, the born goal scorers, the natural born goal scorers, how they take chances, the physicality, speed, awareness, strength, they're very difficult things to coach, but I think certain little bits like movement and that lot, I think you can coach into a player a bit more. Maybe like, I don't think, in terms of, say, Haaland at City or when Jesse was working with Haaland at Salzburg, I don't think they'll have coached him loads, like in terms of basically taught him how to play football. I think Erling Haaland was pretty good at that already, but I just think it'll be little things like little bits of movement, pressing, bits and pieces like that. But yeah, I do definitely agree with that. So let's see. Yeah, this is very true. That 1970 England squad was legendary. Big Jack, Alan Clark, Terry Cooper, Nolan Hunter, Mick Jones, Paul Madeley, and of course, my good mate actually, Paul Reaney. To be fair, I'm very proud to say. So yeah, it's very interesting, very interesting. But yeah, that was a very strong team. But yeah, I definitely agree with the point of Robbie that goal scoring, I think, is mostly natural. I do think it's difficult to coach. I think other positions are easier to coach than that. I think a defender, being a good defender, I think is something that you kind of can coach a little bit more than you can a goal scoring finisher. But yeah, I think Bamford, again, there's a lot of talk about Bamford. He needs to score, doesn't he? He just needs that goal, just for his sake more than anything. In terms of confidence, I think it's a big thing. But yeah, listen, I don't think Bamford will start tomorrow anyway. I think it will be Rodrigo at the top. I've kind of said that a couple of times, but I do think Rodrigo is the short-term number 9, certainly, for this moment in time. Yeah, that's my opinion. But in terms of Joffrey, yeah, I want to see more Joffrey. I'm not going to lie. I did think his cameo against Fulham when he went into that 10 role, I thought was really good. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I think it's a real case for Joffrey, coming on in games, 20 minutes to go, going into that 10 role. And if you have to move Brendan Harrison onto the right wing, then go for it for me. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I do want to see a lot more of Joffrey. But let us know in the comments, guys. Do you agree with that? Let's see. This is a good comment. Reedy must have told you loads of old stories. He certainly has some absolutely superb stories. Can you get him in? We'll see. We'll try. There's a few decent plans during the World Cup. We've got a few things planned, guys. So we'll see. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. We'll see what we can work on. I think, guys, I might leave it there, really. We're coming up to 11 o'clock. I am absolutely knackered, to be honest, guys. It's been a really busy week, as you can probably see. And I've really enjoyed doing this. Really have enjoyed doing this. Make sure you check out after the game tomorrow. We'll have an instant match reaction to the game. Myself, Jack, and CK will all do instant match reactions. So do check that out, guys, after the game. Win, lose, or draw. player ratings as well. Just general post-match content. Keep it locked, guys. Keep it locked on All Leeds TV. And if there's anyone else has got any other questions, I will happily take them. Yes, this is a legendary story, to be fair. George Best against Paul Reaney. It is a legendary story, and Paul Reaney did have George Best in his pocket when they played against each other. Big thanks to Freddie there, being a good one tonight. Alison Adams, thanks Oscar. No, once again, guys, thanks so much to all of you for watching. It was quite an impromptu one, but wanted to get a live one out because I do enjoy doing these. Dirty Leeds, thanks Oscar. Enjoy the game tomorrow, mate. Marching on together. Cheers, man. Cheers. Gail Dale, big thanks once again to Gail. Night, everyone. Thanks, Oscar. And yeah, no, thanks so much, guys. Danny, again, Nige. Cheers, guys. Cheers. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button if any of you are new. And yeah, make sure you hit the like button as well. It does help us a lot. And have a great rest of the night. Try not to get too nervous about tomorrow. And as John says here, marching on together. And just to remind you guys, we've got a brilliant competition on offer as well. Just go through that again in case anyone is just joining us. It is with our fantastic friends, Football Prizes. We have got a fantastic prize on offer for you this week. So just check them out. There's plenty of different bits and pieces. It's not just Leeds United based stuff. You got some boxing here, general football. You know, it's not just Leeds United based stuff here. But this is the one. This is the one I really want to draw your attention to. The Elan Medlier match worn signed Leeds United goalkeeper glove. $4.95 a ticket, 149 tickets available at the start, and the competition ends on Tuesday, this Tuesday, the 8th of November. What a prize this is. R. Iceman, 22 years old. I don't know how many games he's going to play for Leeds United, but he's going to play a lot of games. He's going to leave Leeds at whatever point he leaves Leeds, or he might play his whole career at Leeds. He will play a lot of games for this football club, and he'll go down as one of our best goalkeepers, probably our best goalkeeper since Nigel Martin for me, and I think he already is. To be totally honest with you. So do check this out, guys. Big thanks once again. So I will leave it there anyway. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later. Check out the link in the description down below if you do want to enter the Elan Medlier competition, or if you do want to just check out Football Prizes. Thanks, guys, and we will see you tomorrow with post-match reaction straight after the game. So if you want a bit of reaction to the game straight after the full time, do check us out on All Leeds TV. We'll have content out as quickly as possible.